Before we start this week's video, I'd just like to say that this is a two-part week summary, well, 2-week summary that is, and that this is the second part. If you want to watch the first part, which is showing the backseat footage from my first Twinstar flight, link to that video will be in the description of this video, and alternatively, you can find it on my channel just by searching my first Twinstar flight. So on that note, let's get cracking with the second part of this week's summary. Well, hello everyone and welcome to week 58 and 59 of my life as an L3 CTS cadet pilot. It's week 27 and 28 in New Zealand and I have now flown the Diamond DA42 Twinstar, and what an aircraft that is. So on that note, roll titles. So I've now completed the first 2 Twinstar flights, and also we had to do a multi-engine mass brief. And it was basically, the reason why I didn't put a video up last week was because all I did that week was a multi-engine mass brief, and mass briefs aren't really all that exciting to talk about, even though it was the multi-engine one, which is very interesting, but all we really talk about is the aircraft systems and a bit about how to fly the aircraft. So basic stuff like which power setting and nose attitude do you need to have straight and level, what's the nose attitude for VY climb, etc, etc. It's pretty boring stuff sitting in the classroom, but we have to do it. So anyhow, it had been 12 days in the end between me doing the last Cessna flight and the very first Twinstar flight, and that's for 2 reasons. One, because I had to do that mass brief, which took a while to get booked in, and also I had to wait for a DA42 Twinstar instructor to become available, and had to wait for that as well. So, but good news is I'm in the Twinstar now, and that first lesson, my goodness, what an aircraft that Twinstar is. I mean, I know it's got 2 engines instead of 1, you expect it to have more power, but nothing prepares you for that excess thrust on takeoff. Like, the first takeoff and landing is demonstrated, so we just sit there and just observe what a takeoff and landing should look like, and goodness me, the way I described the feeling in the seat was, if you've been on a commercial airliner and you experience takeoff on an airliner, then basically it forces you to feel in that seat. It was about the same as what I felt on the Twinstar, and like, we had 3 people on board, so it wasn't even at its lightest. I think it was 3 people on a full tank of fuel, so it could accelerate faster, but that's great fun. My instructor took it up to 1200 feet, which is circuit altitude, and at that point he handed control over to me to basically get a bit of a feel for the controls. And then once we was outside the control zone, he then took control again, demonstrated the climb up to, I think it was like 2000 feet, then I took control, climbed us up to 3,000 feet. It's basically, this first flight is a case of the instructor demonstrates to you how everything works and then you do it. So we went out into the training area and we did one of every stall. So we did a clean configuration stall, base to final turn stall, and landing configuration stall. So it was one of each of those. Did some medium turns as well and some steep ones as well. They were good fun in the twin. Only problem with the twin is I've found the visibility isn't particularly great. It's more designed for instrument flight rule operations. So you probably, one of the things I did notice is the Twinstar, it's, like I said, it's designed for IFR, but I think it's designed for someone significantly taller than me. On that first flight I didn't use a cushion. On the second one I did, however, use a cushion, and unless you're above 6 feet tall, then I would recommend using a cushion, just so you can get a bit more forward visibility. It's fine in the air, but taxiing, that's when I noticed it the most. It was particularly difficult craning my neck over the engine cowling. So yeah, that was good fun. Came back in, we actually did an emergency descent as well. That was good fun. Basically gear down, power idle, and then nose down as much as you dare. I think we went down to about 25-30 degrees, and geez, that was quite a rate of descent we had. I don't know what the exact number was, but yeah, it was houses were getting big very fast. So we came back and landed. Overall, brilliant flight. And then 2 days later, I did the circuits lesson. Now, we had a bit of an issue because usually we do our circuits at Hamilton, but there was no circuit slots available at Hamilton, and it was a lovely day, and there was no way I was going to cancel this flight. So what we did was we flew to, where is it? Flew to Tokoroa, so Hamilton is here, Tokoroa is down here, and yeah, we just flew down there as fast as we could, and I think our cruising speed at one point was over 170 knots, which is pretty much 200 miles per hour, and it didn't feel that fast in the Twin. It felt fine. It wasn't buffeting like the Katana would be at that kind of speed. Well, it doesn't even do that kind of speed. But yeah, we got to Tokoroa, and like, I'm actually glad I did my circuits at Tokoroa because the runway is quite short, particularly for the Twinstar. For like the DA20 and the Cessna 172, it's a relatively long runway, but because the Twinstar travels quite a bit faster on approach and landing, it eats up the runway quite quickly. So if you don't put your wheels down within the first 100-150 metres of the runway, then you're probably going to be aborting the landing. But it was really good fun. I think we did 6 circuits at Tokoroa, including 2 flapless approaches, which is something that will be examined on in my CPL exam. So, how did the circuits go? Really well, actually. The Twinstar, it's a surprisingly easy aircraft to land. I think what makes the difference is the extra weight. It weighs at maximum takeoff weight 1,785 kilograms. I think on this particular day we was just under 1,700 kilograms. Actually no, it might have been nearer 1,600, because on that particular day I did not have a backseat passenger with me because I thought it was going to get cancelled because we didn't have a slot, but there we go. So circuits all went really well, really easy aircraft to land, but obviously if you do mess it up it's an expensive bit of kit, so quite a bit of pressure. And then coming back, we just flew back to Hamilton really, did a bit of basic navigation, got myself back used to the G1000. A couple of subtle differences in the G1000 between the Cessna 172 and the DA42. Obviously that you've got 2 engines, but there's a few little things that I need to learn about it. So that is the roundup for this 2 weeks worth of roundup. What's going to be coming up in next week's episode? Well, I've got 3 more VFR Twinstar flights before I'm back in the sim, and all 3 of those flights are going to be asymmetrics, which is basically where we're going to be either simulating an engine failure or we're actually going to shut one engine down. Something that I'm really looking forward to because obviously it's something different. I've never done it before, and it would just be interesting to see how a twin engine aircraft performs with one engine and an operative. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel and share this video with anyone who you feel might benefit from this series. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video. Take it easy. Bye bye.